apart from the first inning, you guys struck out 14 batters tonight. I know you may not shown the final score, but do you feel like your pitching staff took a step forward tonight?
That's a great matchup when you have some left-handed arms. Now, getting to those arms, we thought we could work through a start out of a guy that was really the only fresh guy we had. We didn't. Then the lefties came in and were able to navigate it pretty well. I mean, that's a left-handed heavy lineup. So we had it lined up. The issue is when you ask those guys to do what we're having to ask them to do on the weekends to get through our weekends, and then you bounce back into this game. Looking at them playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the workload on some of those guys that had been out of the bullpen a lot was our biggest issue coming into this. They pitched great. They pitched fine. The start obviously really hurt. The starting pitcher has the advantage of any warm-up routine and mechanism he wants to get ready for the game. That's the advantage the starter has. And clearly that was not good. The other guys that came in pitched just fine. Army, that might be the longest outing he's had this year. I couldn't tell you. He threw 60 pitches. It was a lot, and you could tell him starting to wear, and we didn't have an intention, to be honest, of throwing him quite that much, but clearly he had settled the game, and we needed somebody to extend a little bit because of how the start went. So pitched just fine. The defense was adequate, but their pitching was just fine too. That lefty, they had a 93, 95, had feel for the slider and the change. His issue had been keeping the ball in the zone, which he did enough today. When you look at the batting average against, it was 165 or something coming in. You see why he was one of their weekend guys for a little while. But it's a talented arm that had it going tonight, and they did a nice job managing the pitching.
Did it feel like the ninth inning we finally got a break when the catcher thought he had the
Yes.
ball in his mitt to
Yes.
tag, and you're like,
Yes.
man, did you feel like, okay, we're going to win this game because we just got a break?
Yeah, you're right. You got this thing right where I'm not
With
saying
those
it's
hitters-
right where you want it, but
with
it's
those
close.
hitters coming up.
Yeah, you're okay. And their transfer, I think that's a transfer on. He moved the fastball around, and he got Tibbs there. I can't tell where that was, but he mixed it just enough. I tried to explain to the guys out there, and it's a hard time to do it, but the swing take decisions in the at-bat, this is probably one of the hardest things in athletics is the decoding of the fastball off-speed combinations. And what we've seen in the last month has been they're good arms. And you see spurts of some good decisions and good swings and tough takes and good takes. But then you also see some immature type at-bats out of guys that are, some of these guys are going through this for the first time. Like it or not, that's what our lineup is right now, and at times it shows. Benny Barrett, you see him free swinging at times, and then to go, I couldn't tell you where the one he took was, but you know he wants that thing back worse than anything in the world right now, that first fastball that looked like it was hittable. So those are some of the moments, those swing take decisions and the perception of the stuff you're seeing and how to calibrate it and get it right away is what we lack at the plate right now. But it was good to see Diamez had kind of some back to Diamez at bats. It wasn't enough throughout the course of 1 to 9 to score in bunches like they obviously did there.
It seemed like Cam, though, had a kind of a mature at bat that he got right into a hitter's count and looked like he got a pitch he could really drive and just missed it.
Yeah.
But looked like he took some tough pitches.
He did. He spit at some of the sliders down there where the 3-1, I think it's a 3-1 fast. Was it? I can't tell. It didn't sound like he got it, in a 3-1 count with knowing where you are, being in a fastball and take the off-speed mindset. You would think you would really get that thing. So I don't know if it was in or what, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough to really damage it, and it was set up to be damaged. And if it was up and in, then that's ball 4.
You mentioned Diamez looked like his old self kind of today. Got a couple really good jumps in center. Just how good was that to see?
Diamez is great. He said, "Coach, I can hold the bat in my finger now." So you're talking about stuff that's to have those kind of conversations for a kid that couldn't grip the bat and was giving it all he had. I mean, you almost feel for him because of where he was when he got hurt and how difficult it has been for him to get back and, quite frankly, hold the bat. But he's going to be a beautiful player. You can see it. Having to deal with this caliber of pitching like game in and game out for any freshman is tricky. But he hung in there on that lefty, which is a great sign.
And he had a 3-hit performance, up to 19 games. Just what's clicking for him right now?
Well, he lets the ball travel, and I think that does give him the capability because he's so simplistic with his mechanics. It lets him have a little more depth in deciding what it is and swing take, and his strength is there. So, he drives balls that probably don't get through the infield. I think the one in the 9th that got through the middle, right? That if you're not physically as strong as he is, that ball doesn't get through the infield. So he's got a lot of gifts. The art of hitting, I think he sees it well. He's free swinging, but a swinging bat is a dangerous bat. So he does put himself in position to barrel balls, and the strength and the timing and the use of the field. Like we've seen him hammer balls down both lines, and he's only going to get better as a sophomore. This is something he's going to only trend upwards with.
You mentioned the got to get back Thursday for a 3-game series back in the ACC. So how do you guys flush this game and get ready for a critical series against Clemson?
Well, my message before the game to the team was the only way to approach the game, to play the game at a high level, is one pitch at a time of the game. And if things are going really well and you're looking past that, that's wrong. And when things are going miserably terrible for you, you still have to try to approach it like one pitch at a time and harness enough and channel energy to try to be good for one pitch. There's 151 pitch battles that you have in the course of what you're pitching, and then on the other side, when you're hitting, you're dealing with those individual moments, and then the anticipation on defense and being locked into every pitch and the jump on the ball and completing the double play and the finer points of it. That's how you have to approach it. Whether you've won 20 games in a row or whether you've lost 20 in a row, you owe that to the program and you owe it to yourself as an individual. And these guys want to be professionals, and they owe it to themselves to maintain that level of focus. And I know it's difficult. You're fogged by all the stuff that's going on. It's difficult. But the game's difficult. It's difficult when you're winning, and it's clearly difficult when you're not.
In this stretch, you guys have been right in a lot of these games. It's just much more frustrating does that make it, and how hard is it to just get that one when you're in a stretch like this to get back in the win column?
Well, I think it seems harder. Like I don't know that the losses create an inability to overcome it. Make no mistake, when you have one special left-handed arm that's not in the equation, it puts you don't think you see it today, but in essence, having to do some of the things we're having to do is in part because of him. And I don't want this to be a reflection on maybe what the guys are doing and how hard they're trying to play. I know there's things we have to do better, but overcoming that is a hurdle, and it stresses the rest of the pitching staff, and I think it affects a lot until we can settle into some new roles and guys start to become more efficient on the mound. That has shock waves through it, probably more than the losses, to be honest with you. So we got to fight through that, overcome it. There's not an end in sight to that right now. We're just going to have to mature and grow and deal with it and adapt.
Thanks, guys.